It's not what I had in mind when you said we should hit the town.
This might be a late night.
Sorry, I'm late. The curls were not cooperating this morning.
I hope you had a light breakfast.
No, I had pancakes and sausage and cereal.
It's my girlfriend. She could summon the power of any animal.
It's up to us to protect this city. From now on, I only do date night and tactical gear.
Go ahead, fire away.
National City is my town.
The weight of the whole city falls on my shoulders.
Has everybody lost their minds?
Hey everybody, new footage from all the shows. I'm mostly going to focus on the Flash stuff, and we got some confirmation on which versions of which Flash characters are coming back this season. So there are going to be a bunch of Team Flash changes that I'll explain, but I'll start with the footage first. There's really just a couple new scenes they splice in here, and it's mostly of Barry after he's come back and things have gone back to relatively normal, whatever you think normal is for Team Flash. Just him joking about eating a really big breakfast with all kinds of pancakes. Remember, he has a crazy metabolism. Cisco makes a joke about his hair. That's really about it. There isn't too many revealing things about this. They're just starting to get you hyped up for the season. They dropped this when they were dropping all those previews a couple days ago. I already did one for that special Flash preview, so I'll add a link for that at the end of this. If you're new to the channel too, I do Flash Ring giveaways every week. I usually announce giveaway winners at the end of videos. So the big thing here is that Team Flash is changing a little bit without changing too much. Like, this will sound a little familiar, where they keep most of their main cast, people have different powers, and we found out which version of Harrison Wells is going to come on. John Wesley Shipp was talking about some funny Jay Garrick stuff too that you guys will really like. There was a big Flash Arrow panel at DragonCon this past weekend, so they had Reverse Flash, they had Jay Garrick, they had Barry's mom, there was even Katie Cassidy from Arrow, so there was a bunch of actors that were just talking about stuff for the next season. But starting with the new Team Flash changes, so what'll happen is there'll be a bunch of changes for the first couple of episodes, and then they'll change a little bit more as new characters get cycled in, like official Team Flash members. Then there's the unofficial Team Flash members like Gypsy, who will still be around. So I'll try to explain the difference and like how the dynamic is changing and which characters will be coming in. So you've seen the trailer for the first episode. That pretty much explains the dynamic. Wally's running point, Iris becomes the woman in the chair, Ned leads Spider-Man Homecoming style. Normally that'd be Cisco, he'd be yelling into Barry's ear as he was running around saving people, but the thing is now that Cisco is like full on vibe, he's out helping people like Kid Flash, who's running point, so that means that they need a news support person back at Star Labs talking into people's ears, and they don't have Harrison Wells back right away. We have Hybrid Frost, I'll just call her that for now, because she's walking around looking like Caitlin, but she still has her Killer Frost powers. They were just finishing filming episode 4 a little while ago, and she was on set as full-blown Killer Frost, and it didn't look like it was a flashback, but it could be a flashback. There was this person posting with her, so she has the makeup on. They haven't explained why she switches from one to the other, if it's a conscious choice or if it's something that happens on accident, because she has that choker. That probably has something to do with her changing, because she's not wearing the choker now while she's Killer Frost. But then, as you know, Barry comes back right at the end of episode 1. Beginning of episode 2, his mind might still be a little bit fuzzy. He said that when he first came back out of the Speed Force that he would be a little bit weird, so eventually he takes point. That probably happens at some point during episode 2. Then we get Harrison Wells back, and it sounds like he's confirmed to be the Earth 2 version of Harrison Wells. So you can call him Harry, call him whatever you want. I just think of him as Harrison Wells, and I called Earth 19 Harrison Wells HR. So HR died at the end of last season. He's not coming back. Earth 2 Harrison Wells has been on his home planet, while Jesse Quick has been on Earth 3 helping Jay Garrick protect that Earth. So it gets a little more complicated here, so I'll explain Jay Garrick Earth 3 stuff in a second. But the thing with Harrison Wells is that he's basically by himself on Earth 2. They don't need a Flash there because everything is actually going really well. So he's getting really bummed out and he needs to find new purpose with his life. So that's what causes him to come back to Team Flash. And the producers said that he's sort of rediscovering his purpose now that he's saved Jesse Quick. Like the whole thing the first couple seasons was protecting his daughter. And now that he's sort of backed off of that a little bit, he needs to find something else to live for. And that'll be tied up in the fight against the Thinker this season. So I think that's interesting because usually when you think about the big villain's arc, you usually think about it as sort of like the mirror for the hero's arc, which is usually Barry, but it'll also have a lot to do with Harrison Wells from Earth 2. As far as we know, Jesse Quick doesn't come back right away, but she'll probably show up a little bit during the first half of the season. She hasn't been around that much because the actress who plays her has been traveling all over the world for the last month or so. So if she's off somewhere else, she can't be filming Flash episodes. So I'm not expecting her right away. It sounds like her and Wally are still doing the long-distance relationship thing. Jay Garrick is a little more of a question mark. I'm expecting him to show up at least as much as he showed up last season, which was only for a couple episodes. But at DragonCon, you guys will think this is funny, he said that if you want to see Jay Garrick in that 90s Flash costume again, make sure you tweet about it. Because back during Season 2, when they were traveling to Earth 2 for the first time, they actually showed an alternate Earth with John Wesley's ship in his 90s Flash costume. It was literally a frame taken from the 90s Flash show. It wasn't present-day John Wesley's ship wearing the costume. It was him from back in the 90s. So I think the idea is that in this multiverse, even though he played Barry on the 90s series, is that if we see the 90s Flash costume come back, it'll be an alternate version of Jay Garrick. But he's like, if you want to see it, make sure you tweet about it. So these are the people that you can tweet at if you want to see that 90s Flash costume show up. But also on that same panel, Reverse Flash said that he basically wants Reverse Flash to come back and have an episode with himself, like literally go to another version of Eobard Thawne and then just interact with each other because the character is so narcissistic. Like he's like, this would be very self-serving, but I really want Eobard Thawne to meet another version of Eobard Thawne, which sounds about right. He, of course, didn't spoil how Reverse Flash is going to come back or when he's going to come back. I think they want to roll in all these new changes to the TV show because they're sort of soft rebooting it, and I think second half of the season is probably when we'll see Reverse Flash come back. But then the last real big Team Flash member, like official Team Flash member, is going to be Elongated Man. He won't show up till like middle of the first half of the season, and then that'll be part of the big Thinker arc. Like, don't be surprised if Elongated Man is on some sort of hunt because he's a detective in the comics for the Thinker, and Barry's separately doing the same thing, and then they realize that and sort of come together. But in the way that they always pick up new people like Julian, that's like the next new Team Flash member. As far as I know, it'll just be him. Sue Dibney won't be married to him when we first meet him because they're all relatively young on the TV show. Even Barry and Iris haven't gotten married yet. But actually, Diggle from Arrow spoiled a little bit about the weddings that are happening this season. He joked that there might be 2 weddings, but Barry and Iris are definitely going to get married, so I'll talk about that in a second too. And then on top of all that, you probably saw the Danny Trejo pictures. So he's playing Breacher, who is Gypsy's father, a villain from the comics. He was bigger during the New 52, and I think we actually even hear Cisco yelling about him in that first trailer that we saw back at Comic-Con. But I can't remember the last time that Danny Trejo played a character that wasn't a badass, so it sounds like he's gonna kick a whole bunch of Team Flash ass. His powers are just like a bigger version of the stuff that Cisco and Gypsy are able to do. But hopefully that explains a little bit about who Team Flash is going to be this season, how Iris will be the new woman in the chair while Cisco's out running around with everybody until Barry comes back and runs point. Wally will be running point. He's even going to be in the old Barry costume for a little while. Then it sounds like he goes back to the old yellow costume. Barry's going to be wearing his future Flash costume. And then really the other big question is what will Elongated Man's powers look like when he comes on the show? Because it sounds like it'd be really expensive to have him stretching all the time. But let me know what you guys think about all this, and let me know what you think about Jay Garrick in that 90s Flash costume. And there's a new type of video that I want to try to do this year. It's really just like a new version of the Q&A videos that I used to do for Flash and Arrow, but now because there are so many DC TV shows, it's getting hard to do videos for everything. So I figured doing at least one DCTV Q&A video each week would solve some of those problems. But if you've seen my Game of Thrones videos, you know how I do the top 10 Q&A video? Imagine me just doing a version of that for all the DCTV stuff that happens each week. But I can't really try that out until episodes start dropping. So just let me know if that's the kind of video that you guys would be interested in. But either way, it'll be fun. So what'll happen later tonight is I have new Game of Thrones to post. Leave all your DCTV video requests in the comments below. Don't worry, all this stuff is coming back really soon. And I almost forgot the wedding stuff. So Diggle from Arrow was saying that we might actually see that Barry Iris wedding in the big 4-night crossover this season. So that doesn't really answer the question as to what the story is going to be. So when I hear some more information about that, I'll totally do a video about it. But congratulations to the new giveaway winner, Cole Clark. Please private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact details. While you wait for everything, you can click here for brand new Flash, and you can click here for brand new Game of Thrones. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.